Yo, the enemy's public, I gotta keep my eyes open. Pay attention, stop walking around like you blindfolded. This not the World Cup, but Nasir be kicking knowledge. This the type of information you can never learn in college. It's time to fight back, it's no more trying to play it cool. We got interviews, podcasts, and got the latest news. So sit back and relax, we about to get it started. Earth is a canvas, and guess who's the con artist? They brainwashing us, the system corrupted. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. I said you are now rocking with the enemy's public. Hey.
The once goal-driven, ambitious Sapphire turns to the street life after the sudden death of her big brother Dre. Dre's best friend Devontae tries to honor his homeboy's last request of looking out for his baby sister. A rebellious Sapphire makes it very difficult for Devontae to carry out his promise.
Peace. This is the enemy's public. I am Bro.Nasir. Want to have a little fireside chat and speak about what went on in New York when immigrants who were allowed to come to the United States and was afforded all types of indemnities, shelter, stipends, they were fed. They were actually allowed to come here and seek asylum and citizenship. Instead of sending them back, they were allowed to come here. And they felt compelled to jump on New York City police officers. Now, I'm not here to, talk about the police as far as defending them. What I'm here to talk about is the men jumped on the police, stomping them, kicking them, punching them, and no one was as much as maced, tasered, any type of repercussion. As a matter of fact, they were arrested and let go. So all of that is something that wouldn't have happened if it was one of us. They probably would have used excessive force. And I know emphatically that we were shot for a lot less. No one was even maced or tasered or any type of repercussion for attacking police officers. We get shot running away from the police, traffic stops, elder deacons in churches are killed after having a motor vehicle accident. They are killed, swept off their feet and killed. Peace to my brother, Voodoo Child. Salute to you, good brother. And people who come here is afforded a lot more luxuries than those of us who were born and raised here in the United States. And watching that tape of the cops the cops getting beat up by immigrants, watching that tape showed me one thing emphatically, that the police, they do have restraint. They are capable of restraining themselves from using deadly force when unarmed people are attacking them. They have the ability and they are capable of restraining themselves. That's the proof right there that they are capable of restraining themselves, just not with us. we are shot for a lot less. I want to say peace to two of my brothers, Smash and Moogie, some brothers I grew up with. Whenever I see those brothers, they're always encouraging me. They always have some positive vibes when we run into each other. They're going to work and I'm going to work. We happen to run into each other sometimes, and they always encourage the brother to keep moving and keep doing what I'm doing. So Smash and Moogie, if you're listening, peace. Giving a shout out to my good brothers. Before I get into my video presentation, I want to play a musical selection from the homie Wise Intelligent.
Y'all feel that? That piano was good. This is it right here, PJ. This is it. One more chance. Look, if Timothy Taylor was given a chance to do it again, I would probably change a few things. I listen to me a bit more. I travel the world with 3 brides, no hate to each his own. My name would no longer be Wise, you call me Jesus Jones. Fuck off the hammer for jurors, return of a prodigal son. Go tell your favorite MCs to give him his style back, here he comes. If Timothy Taylor was given one chance to spin it again, he would rinse it till it's empty. Lock up to the track like empty. Black youth would come to the forefront. Hip-hop would feed the masses. No weapon formed against us will prosper or harass us. I'd educate your babies. I'd teach black men to raise them. I'd civilize your ladies. I'd be Captain Saberho. If Timothy Taylor was given a second chance at life, I'd tell Shaheed and Culture that what we had was right. I wouldn't have let my sister be murdered on the train tracks. I wouldn't have watched my old earth expire in the projects. Given one chance to make it whole, I'd buy back all your souls. I'd give you crowns of life. I'd bulldoze all the projects. I'd build ghettos of grandeur. Let Jada Kiss ask why. I'm here to provide the answers. No longer a need for black folks. See, physical labor's cheap. Job market in constant decline. They moving them overseas. Get money the moment the ghetto. Pitch coca, cap your fame. No love for the poverty stricken. You flick up and form the game. If Wise Intelligence given a second chance to say this, I wouldn't water it down to compliment your radio playlist. I learned the hard way. There's no such thing as black broadcasters. They're simply puppets at the mercy of their slave masters. Whatever you think, believe in, becomes the world around you. Poor people think abundance, riches will soon surround you. If Wise Intelligence given a chance to do it again, I think the thoughts of prophets, I'd rid the world of sin. Jesus Jones is into the building. That certain way you feeling about what I be talking about. Talk shit while I'm walking out. Never let hate control your thinking. I'm he who speaks believing, who hip hop fans are seeking. If Timothy Taylor was given a second chance at life, I would probably not even rap. I'd open schools abroad. If Wise Intelligence blessed with another chance to live, I would live for the love of the people, a little bit closer to God. I'd bind the broken hearted, free the captive, touch the blind, crush the grapes, save the grace, and prepare the wine. Forgive the sins of our fathers for which we suffer today. Return the sons of mothers who mourn from Watch the Donnelly page. I'd organize the gangs. I'd give them the knowledge and know-how. I'd do this like Reginald Lewis. I'd teach them the leverage to buy
If that was a Jersey homie, was intelligent, Trenton's own, another chance at life. You only get one chance at life. So we don't let nobody take that life from us. If anything, we will give that life for the liberation and salvation of our people. Excuse me. Now, I want to go to this video footage of these police officers being beaten by immigrants. Again, if you see what was done to them, we have been gunned down, unarmed, for a lot less, running in a different direction of the police. And I'm going to show you some footage of our people being put in positions where we are harmed by police. And I'm going to show you other footage of what people do when they encounter the police and absolutely nothing happens. Nothing. People actually do physical harm and absolutely nothing happens.
All right, a Fox News alert on this Wednesday morning. The House Homeland Security Committee yesterday advanced articles of impeachment against DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. In an overnight vote that got heated, it was strictly along party lines.
Secretary Mayorkas' actions have forced our hand. We cannot allow this border crisis to continue. We cannot allow fentanyl to flood across our border, our criminals to waltz in undeterred. And we cannot allow a cabinet secretary with no regard for the separation of powers or the rule of law to remain in office.
And any shortcomings that Mayorkas may have, frankly, are your fault. He's asking for authorities to do more, to have more border agents, to have more resources. And so his limitations are caused by you.
It was a marathon session, 13 hours long. Eventually, Mayorkas called the allegations baseless in a letter to the committee. The next step is an impeachment vote on the House floor.
And as that battle unfolds in Washington, look at this insane video. A group of migrants in New York City are arrested after attacking NYPD officers in Times Square. 5 were arrested and 4 are already released without bail.
All right, the brawl started when 2 officers were trying to break up a rowdy crowd near a migrant shelter on 42nd Street. While arresting one of the men, the other said, hey, I'm not going to just sit there. I'll jump in. I'll start kicking. I'll stop punching the officers. After all, I don't belong in this country anyway. I could beat up an NYPD officer. What'll actually happen? The Manhattan DA's office saying it's investigated the incident as police search for 5 other men involved. Every part of this incident could have been avoided if you didn't allow 67,000 people to call New York home who don't belong here. And what happened is, instead of being grateful, they're creating chaos. They get free food, free laundry.
Right.
They could do whatever they want, free shelter. And when they start fighting each other and NYPD comes to enforce the law, they beat up the cops.
Right.
Forget you trying to wrap your head around that.
Listen, the actual number, according to the New York Post, and they had this story exclusively, 172,000 migrants have come to New York City since, in the last year and a half. 172,000, 67,000 are currently in shelters. Obviously, if these guys were over by the migrant shelter, you can connect the dots. They were probably living there. Here's the thing. One of the, and by the way, they did bust in all 5 people. two 19-year-olds, a 21-year-old, and a 24-year-old, and of course, all single males. And weren't we told a while back the people being led across the border were all in family units? Anyway, one of those migrants apparently has 2 open cases for assault and robbery. You know, he's already been arrested twice. In November, he punched and pushed and bit a Nordstrom Rack employee who said, "Hey, you can't steal that $130 item from the store, pal." Well, he didn't like that. He bit the person. And then in December, he punched with a closed fist a loss prevention officer down at the big Macy's on 34th Street, he was trying to pull off another.
Everybody knows that if it was some brothers involved in this melee, somebody would have been shot. I'm not going to say maced or tased. If one of us kicked or stumped on a cop in any municipality, it would have been some deadly force used, or especially being that outnumbered. So you're telling me now, at being outnumbered, being stumped and kicked and punched and grabbed on, these cops didn't fear for their life, but they fear for their life when we're driving away from them, or running in a different direction. They fear for their life. This lets me know that they do have restraint. They do have restraint.
Another robbery with 2 other people. So how hard is it to get deported in this country if you're breaking the law and beating up cops?
That's the question. And this story and this video that you're seeing right here, it's the cross section of so many things we talk about every single day with all the issues in cities and countries across the country, where it's attacks on police. Yeah. It's the illegal immigrant crisis. It's also the bail policies that are contributing to all of this. And yeah, like you said, Steve, one guy had already has.
I don't know why she mentioned the bail policy. The bail policy has to do with bail reform when it comes to only rich people having the ability to go home after being arrested because they have money, and some of us get charges that's not even that severe, and they're sent to jail, and they stay in jail, and they sit in jail all because they don't have money on some bogus charges. That's what the bail reform is about. Not because immigrants are here. The immigrants are here because, you know, the Biden administration told us that we're going to have to deal with the people that he allowed to come here. I don't believe it should be an influx or slew of people being allowed to come to any country that much and stay here, especially coming the way they're coming, because they're being afforded luxuries that people who live here are not afforded. We still have citizens of the United States sleeping on the streets, and these people are in shelters. Those shelters should be for the people who are from here. Charity begins at home, then it spreads abroad.
It's 2 open cases. So he is now a repeat offender. And you just have to think about the mentality of this group of 5 people who, by the way, are claiming asylum.
They've all been released, too. They've been stopped and released.
Because of that, it's behavior of people who are not afraid to get deported. If you were, and you know that you came here illegally and you're on thin ice, you're going to hide. You're going to be quiet, mind your P's and Q's. And these people are attacking police officers. Thankfully, they're okay.
And what you said is a cross section of everything.
Yeah.
It's a cross.
That's absolutely Voodoo Child. You know, they believe every type of propaganda that is put out by us, even when we do it, serving to our own detriment. Speaking, you know, brothers doing hip hop music, capping, saying they're this and they're that, and they're not living like that, all to sell some music. And that stuff in the movies also, they're shown all over the world. And if you get a Caucasian police officer or even one of us who have never been around a quote unquote hood, when they encounter us, they're automatically scared because they believe the propagandas that put out about us. They actually believe that. And the stereotypes, they actually believe. And what's crazy about it, you'll get a officer, a black officer. He may be from the suburbs and never been around brothers that's from the quote unquote hood, and he believed that about his own people. Some of it's true. We do have knuckleheads among us, but we, for the most part, all of us are not knuckleheads. All of us are not gangsters. The real gangsters live up in my state. They live up in North Jersey in big houses. And they lobby. They run certain industries. Those are the real gangsters, not the young brother standing on the corner trying to be a gangster, and he's putting himself in harm's way and jeopardizing his freedom by standing on the block. That's not gangster. Gangsters don't say they're gangsters. They just be it.
Section of let's open up the border. Let's not do the remain in Mexico. Let's not pressure other.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, brother. Voodoo Child. I know what you're saying, brother, and I know you joking, brother. I know that.
The countries to keep their people there. Let's not make sure the cartels don't decide to give up drugs in order to get back into human trafficking. And let's not put up the wall. It all comes into the major cities. You want to blame the Republican governors for allowing these guys to get on buses and go to major cities? Don't. Look at Mayorkas and Joe Biden and look at their policies and executive orders to reverse Donald Trump's policies. And it goes right back to those illegal immigrants on the streets beating up our cops.
It's also the cross-section of the downside of sanctuary cities, right? Because if this happened in a place that didn't have sanctuary city policies, they would call ICE and those people would get deported, not here.
Right. ICE has been defanged. And number two is sanctuary cities. President Trump, one of the first things he did is told the courts, forget it's unconstitutional. The courts pushed back and said he can't do that.
Well, one of the big sanctuary cities is where Lawrence Jones has been dispatched. He's in Denver today. And Lawrence, you were talking to the mayor there about their sanctuary status because right now it's at the crisis level. They've got the highest number per capita of migrants in that city you're standing in America.
Hey, good morning, family. A big interview with the mayor here, Mike Johnson. And to go to the people that are seeking asylum, I asked the mayor, I said, you know, what are you going to do when a lot of these folks are on the street because you guys just don't have the resources? And he gave me the story of one of the migrants that came across the border illegally, that she was a police officer.
Peace to my brother, Voodoo Child. Do a mic check, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm in the house.
How you doing, brother?
Oh, man, thank you for another one. This is recent. I didn't see this, man. I haven't been looking at the television. I've been working like a dog. And
Yes,
I'm amazed that this ain't like national news. This should be on every TV. I mean, because basically you're letting these folks in droves. And you already see they just getting here and they ain't taking it. Well, we used to duck our heads and take these ass whoopings, and man, you know how it is. These people rat packing the police, man. They jumping in like wild dogs on them. I'm almost glad to see it, man. It might.
Yeah.
This might sound a little
That's why I say I'm not defending the police, but well, how I'm looking at it is that they do have restraint because if one of us would have kicked their head would probably have been flown. You know what I'm saying? Would have flew their head. They doing that weak shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they are rat packing them.
Oh yeah, he ain't getting a chance, and they trying to get that other cat loose from him. And what I'm saying is, in our situation, you right. Somebody would have got shot if he had to be on the ground shooting women and kids everywhere. He wouldn't have gave a damn. That pistol would have came out. And
No
I
doubt.
mean, I don't know what to say, man. I mean, they literally taking that ass whipping, and I don't think that should be the case. I mean,
agree,
given what they've done to us and our examples.
Exactly. You know, again, I'm not defending I just think the police are not defendable because of their behavior, especially towards us. And especially seeing this because, like we just stated, so nobody was as much as tased or maced. And then they
He
went to
tried, and then
jail.
one cat tried to kick that guy's head and slipped down. He was trying to kick it off. You know what I
He
mean?
fell.
Yeah. I'm like, you look at this video, right then to me, I would think that if this was us, there'd be a citywide quarantine. You better not be a brother on the street. If you are, they'd be looking to jump and beat your ass everywhere they can catch you at. And I'm betting these people still feel safe. They're probably looking at it on their phone right now, somewhere laughing.
Let me tell you what. Let me show you what. Let me show you what they did when they was let out of jail, bro. I'm gonna show you what happened when they was let out of jail. Let me go to that video.
Do I need to sit down first? You better shock me.
It's not gonna shock you. Just look at what they did when they was let go. After they was arrested, this is what they did when they was let go.
Just some of the problem hotspots posing big risk for President Biden in an election year. Carl Rove, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff, a Fox News contributor. Carl, sometimes there's a photograph that will just encapsulate everything. And I think it right now for this election in 2024, it's this one. Take a look here. This is a migrant who was involved in the attacking of police officers in Times Square.
That's what he did.
He's being let out of court yesterday on bail, and he gives America, the press, everybody there, the double bird. And
he flipped them the bird when they let him go, and he actually said it. He didn't just flip the bird when they're not going to show it, but when he walked out the court, that they let them go, mind you, no bail, released, pending investigation. After they have video footage of them doing what they was doing, we have video footage of cops beating our ass and shooting us down, and they get acquitted. But these dudes can beat the shit out cops, get locked up, no bail, released. He walks out and said, "Fuck y'all." Crazy. It's amazing to me. I see you're speechless, brother Voodoo.
Yeah, right. All I can say is right on to him, Venezuelan man, goddamn Honduran or wherever the fuck you from.
Wherever Jose name is. I don't know whether Jose, Jose or Hector or whoever he is, I don't. I mean, I feel I share the sentiment about the system. I share that sentiment. But I'm looking at it a different way. I definitely share the sentiment that, flipping them the bird. Now, to go to what happens to us when we encounter the police is totally different. We encounter the police, traffic stops turn deadly. A traffic stop turn deadly. That's what I'm talking about. Them beating the cops up is one thing. I'm speaking about them having such restraint when it comes to others, showing that they have restraint. And when we encounter them, we can just ask them why we were pulled over, and they have a problem with that. Now, this is what's going on with these asylum seekers. This is what they're doing when they're allowed to come here.
Back here at home, one asylum seeker accused of killing another. tonight on Randall's Island. Both were staying at the Migrant Center there. Police say the two men got into a fight and one stabbed the other in the chest. The victim was 26 years old. He died at the hospital. The suspect is now in police custody.
Crazy. It's not just going on in New York. It's going on all over the United States, even in the neighboring state of New York and New Jersey. As a matter of fact, New York.
Late this afternoon, migrants started arriving
New York.
at St. John Villa Academy just as a judge ruled.
New York is not allowing them to come straight there. So they're coming to New Jersey and then taking buses and trains from New Jersey to New York. So New York is not even allowing them to come straight there because they said the process takes too long to process them to give them shelter. But they have so many asylum cities in New Jersey. Now, I'm not a person who is mean-spirited, but it should be a process. And not only that, again, charity begins at home, then it spreads abroad. Before every person here in the United States is off the street not being homeless and being taken care of, those who want it, they should be afforded it before they take care of anybody that come here from another country. That's what I'm saying.
Rule the city could not use the old school as a shelter. About 30 migrants are now refusing to leave, left in limbo with nowhere else to go as the city appeals the judge's decision.
About 20 other migrants who
So they come here and get bold, refusing to do stuff. They come to another land and they start demanding stuff. Like some people in New York were staying in hotels, very expensive, fancy hotels. And when they was told they had to leave the hotel and go to a shelter, they started complaining. That's audacity.
who arrived this afternoon decided to leave the shelter on their own after they were heckled by protesters outside of the school. They said that they did not feel safe. Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan is live on Staten Island with the very latest. Jim.
Liz, the people of Staten Island said no today, and they meant it. The mayor planned to house migrants from the southern border at this former grade school in a fully residential neighborhood with 4 other schools filled with children nearby. I
wouldn't want them there either because as we can see by the videos and what's going on, people being killed, they are allowing criminals. They're allowing criminals to come here, not even vetting these people and allowing them to come into not their community, our community. They're not going to Westchester. They're not going up to North Jersey and Bergen County and and Upper Essex County. They're not going up there. They're coming to our communities. That's where they're allowing these so-called asylum seekers to come. They put them in our community. I don't blame the people for protesting. I wouldn't want them in a school near, where children are at. Put them in a school, abandoned school where children are at. And some of these men, they don't have, our children in our neighborhood in the best interest, and they're robbing and they're jumping on brothers and sisters. So no, I disagree with allowing them to come in my community.
The city brought the migrants in, and they were greeted by their new neighbors.
You're not welcome.
The migrant crisis came to Staten Island today as dozens of recent immigrants were bused to a former Catholic school here for housing. Residents were furious.
Where's the children? You're not welcome.
We have an all-girls Catholic high school literally 50 feet from this facility. If your 16-year-old daughter attended this school, Would you want a migrant shelter right across the street?
To come down here and see this neighborhood and what's here and how the children are so close to it. We're not going to stand for it. I'm very sorry. We're not.
They
gonna
want
do it.
them in our
I
community.
fought before for
That's
hell,
why they're
and
out
I'm
there.
fighting now for hell, and I'm not moving from this
They're
spot
out
till
there
this is
because they
closed.
don't want
That
them
is
in their
it.
community. They want to put
Having
them all in
control
our
at the
community.
border is insanity.
Public officials from the borough held a news conference at the site and promised a lawsuit to prevent the school from being used as a shelter. And by early afternoon,
Staten Island is the most racist borough in New York. Racist as hell. They want to send them to Harlem, send them to Bedford-Stuyvesant, send them to wherever we're at. They don't want them where they're at. That's why they're raising so much hell. I don't blame them, but they don't want them in their neighborhood because they like to send them to ours.
they appear to have won.
And he ruled that there's an emergency temporary restraining order from anyone occupying this building. For now, Staten Island's won.
Soon, the migrants who had just arrived 2 hours earlier were on their way out.
And it's not our responsibility. You know, come on. No one's giving me free food. No one's giving me free housing.
Now, we have not been allowed into the school. We can't tell whether all of the
Greetings to Teo Brown. Thanks for tapping in. Appreciate that.
migrants have left. We are told that some have refused to leave and are still staying, but the court order requires them to leave, and the matter will be reconsidered at another court hearing in September.
Yeah, they're coming over here and they're breaking the laws and they're fighting in our neighborhoods, Harlem, in a migrant
Concerns
shelter.
in Harlem tonight after violence erupted outside a migrant shelter over the weekend.
A group of disorderly men were seen throwing objects at people walking by. Fox 5's Christine Russo joins us live from Harlem. Christine, what do we know about what happened?
Natasha, Steve. So yesterday, police told us that a group of migrant men staying at this shelter started this fight yesterday morning by throwing objects at people who were just walking by here. But then today, police were no longer able to confirm that they were migrants. Regardless, a fight did break out here and ultimately sent 2 people to the hospital. A Sunday morning fight outside a Harlem shelter sent 2 people to the hospital. Witnesses say a group of men standing outside the shelter at 31 Central Park North were throwing objects at people walking by. They say when a 35-year-old man tried to step in and stop them, he was pushed through a glass door of an apartment building. Then a 41-year-old man tried to intervene in that attack and was also assaulted by the original group. Police say both victims were
We definitely can't tolerate this. They're in Harlem. That's where our people are. And they're allowed to stay there. And they're going to be throwing things at people for walking by. And they're living free. And they do all types of vetting. We pay taxes and we go to any of these facilities for help. Some of our people may fall down on their luck and they may need money. They may go to social services. They make it so hard for us to get any type of assistance. But these people come here and they get it automatically. They do all of these things to undermine us.
treated for their injuries at the hospital. Neighbors who have lived here for years say there's been a definite change.
I've had concerns in the last few months with an influx of new residents at the homeless shelter on the corner.
One woman we spoke to didn't want to show her face on camera, but says since the pandemic, there's been a feeling of unease.
Actually was attacked on the train down the station. Safety is not the words for New York, I feel now.
The fight started outside the former Lincoln Correctional Facility, which is now being used as a temporary shelter for asylum seekers and newly arrived migrants. People who live on this block say this particular shelter isn't the one they're really concerned with, but the other homeless shelter down the block on Lenox Avenue.
There's a lot of people hanging out at the homeless shelter now for the immigrants, and they don't seem to cause a problem, but the main shelter on Lenox Avenue is the one that we're concerned about for safety.
Police say they did arrest one man from the group for disorderly conduct, but the others took off. We asked people what they feel is needed here.
I need more cops around here.
Really, how we can take care of people from health, mental health, and and go from there.
Police tell me that one person is still in custody and their investigation is ongoing. We're live in Central Park North. Steve, back to you.
Thanks, Christine. Well,
Again, it's happening all over the United States, not just in New York. It's happening in Chicago.
Emotional outbursts, at times so heated, police had to step in. We're talking about city council today and a vote to spend $51 million on helping migrants here in Chicago. CBS 2 political investigator Dana Kosloff was there for all the action, and Dana, strong feeling.
$51 million to help those who come here, but they do nothing about what's going on with the people who are already here. That's a slap in the face on both cheeks. A frontward slap and a backward slap.
All around. Yeah, Erica, and for many different reasons, among them the fact that this $51 million approved today is only a short-term fix, and more money will be needed in just weeks.
We cannot continue to falsely pit communities against one another.
Deep emotional wounds coming to the surface.
As Black people who have been hurt continuously by the city and country it loves, it ain't our responsibility to take care of everybody else.
And anger.
We don't want to have to recall anybody. We don't want to have to protest anybody, but we are not going to be ignored, Brandon, Mayor Johnson.
Many in Chicago's Black community and the city council speaking out against spending $51 million to house migrants.
The mayor of Chicago is milquetoast and powerless. He's not even trying to exercise power. He's milquetoast. And he's a sock puppet. He's conducting business as usual. And he have his people before him telling him how they feel, and he's totally ignoring them. And if you look at who's on the city council, you can see why they are approving this money, because it's their family that's coming here.
Migrants asking when will the help for them finally become a reality.
And it cannot be put on the backs of the residents of Chicago without showing them that they're getting something.
That's a good question, Tail Brown. Why not spend that money on the veterans and homeless families on our streets? That's where the money should be going. Now, they can find money for that, but when we come to them about reparations, they don't have no money. They said we should study it, but they can come up with $54 million for people that come here. But when we ask them for something that's owed to us, they don't have no conversation about that.
Out of this.
Mayor Brandon Johnson, presiding over his second full city council meeting, had to ask for calm more than once.
Will the Sergeant of Arms please restore some order?
Police also intervening at one point to allow the meeting to proceed. Ultimately, the measure passed with 34 votes. Many who voted to approve the money, like 49th Ward Alderwoman Maria Haddon, call this an immediate crisis that needs attention. But she says so do concerns.
$54 million. It would take them a lot less than $54 million to gather them up, take them to a seaport, and send them back to where they came from. It would not take $54 million to do that.
Of the city's Black residents.
Why are Black people in Chicago and some communities so angry? Why is all this kind of anti-immigrant sentiment coming up? And I want to explain to folks, it's because if we cared as much about Black people and had over the decades as we do about everyone else, we wouldn't be here.
But the money from a 2021 budget surplus will only last 1 month. Many alderpeople say it's time for a long-term plan and some state and federal help. With that, should taxpayers be concerned?
I think we should all be concerned anytime we're having to utilize this level of resources on a temporary situation, especially with not a real sight of federal support coming.
Hours after the meeting, Mayor Brandon Johnson offered no specifics.
We're going to have to dig in a little bit deeper in the city of Chicago, but that's going to be a collaborative approach.
As for a timeline for a long...
Yeah, what's crazy about that is, again, you're correct, Tail Brown. People who hasn't paid any taxes, didn't contribute to this society, can come here and get afforded that type of budget to help them. Yet the people who are here, we have veterans who fought for the country, not receiving adequate health care. Veterans, homeless people, veterans sleeping in tents and under bridges. They should be scooped up off the street. Being that they served, they should be taken care of, put in a home and taken care of. Adequate health care and somewhere to live and something to eat.
Long-term plan to deal with this issue? There isn't one. I'm live outside Chicago City Hall in the Loop. Dana Kozlov, CBS 2 News.
Dana, thanks.
We're going to look inside the migrant shelter in New York.
Well, New York City's migrant crisis has reached an eye-popping new milestone. There are actually now more people seeking asylum in our city shelters than there are homeless New Yorkers. Today, News 4's Melissa Russo got an exclusive look inside the first stop for new arrivals. We're talking about the Roosevelt.
They actually have migrants in the Roosevelt Hotel in New York, using it as a shelter.
Hotel Processing Center, Melissa.
Yeah, Natalie, walking into that large waiting room today at the Roosevelt Hotel in Midtown, it was hard not to be struck by the magnitude of this migration crisis, shouldered almost entirely by the New York City taxpayers, but also you're struck by the humanity.
So walking through these doors every day, more than 400 people per day.
Yes, but we're vetted, and the people here, we have people who work in social services and supposed to be public servants. They don't serve us. They're turning those up at us when we ask for something. Now, you have a people who come here, didn't contribute in no shape, form, or fashion, but they are processed and they are given something. That's backwards. They're supposed to make sure everybody in New York is taken care of. Not saying people that come here shouldn't be taken care of, but I'm going to say this. If I went there, would they afford me those luxuries? If I went to where they came from, they don't have it. If I went to any other country, would they put me up somewhere? Hell no. Only the United States do that goofy shit.
It's one thing to hear the numbers. It's another to see today's newcomers all in one place. Little ones wiped out after walking for months to the border, then riding for days on a bus. Leonardo from Venezuela says his kids are happy to be here after crossing so many rivers and rocks in the jungle. And to already have a new pair of shoes.
My heart breaks a little bit, and I have these conflicting feelings.
Deputy Mayor Ann Williams-Isom says she's proud of the care the city is offering, but sad that it's unsustainable. Over the weekend, the city reached a critical tipping point for their already jam-packed shelters. The 49,700 homeless New Yorkers in shelter now outnumbered by 50,000 asylum seekers.
Right now, the city is taking care of close to 100,000 people in this system with no end in sight.
We've done so many vaccinations at the arrival center here that we've almost exhausted the vaccine supplies that we've had.
The Roosevelt Hotel in Midtown offers medical and mental health screenings, rooms to more than 800 families with children, and a way station of sorts.
Now, immigrants come here fight the police, get arrested, and are released without bail. I know that they don't have bail. I know they don't have bail in New Jersey anymore. I don't know what they're doing in New York, but here, either they're going to let you go or you're going to keep your ass in jail pending your trial. But I'm going to go over what happened to us when we encounter the police. Not jump on the police, not beat the police, just encounter them.
That major outrage this morning after a behavioral therapist was shot by an officer after he held his hands in the air, lying on the ground, his patient with autism sitting right nearby. ABC's Gio Benitez has more on this story. Good morning to you, Gio.
Amy, good morning to you. That new video taking social media by storm overnight. The unarmed black behavioral therapist shot by police on the streets of Miami. And police say it all started when they got a call about a man threatening suicide. Watch, just moments before the shooting, you can see 47-year-old Charles Kinsey.
How backwards is that? A man threatening suicide. Even if that was the case, you're supposed to go there with compassion. A man is threatening suicide, not homicide. A man's threatening suicide, you go there and attempt to kill him. That's an incompetent person who shouldn't even be in this society. Damn sure shouldn't have no gun on him.
His hands raised in the air. The video released overnight by his lawyer. Kinsey in the yellow shirt works at an assisted living facility. And the man at his feet is a 23-year-old with autism who ran away from the group home. Listen as Kinsey talks to police. Kinsey even tries to calm the young man with autism. At some point, one of the officers...
If a person is threatening suicide, first, they have the wrong people there. You know, the right person is there laying on the ground with his hands up. A behavioral therapist, but they superseded his job by threatening his damn life.
Shoots Kinsey, but he survives and speaks with Fox station WSVN from his hospital bed, recounting what he told that officer.
And I'm telling him again, sir, there's no need for a firearm. I'm unarmed. He's an autistic guy. He had a toy truck in his hand. When he hit me, I'm like, I still got my hands in the air. I said, no, I just got shot. And I'm standing there, I'm like, sir, why did you shoot me? And his words to me, he said, I don't know.
Video of the actual shooting hasn't been released, but this is the moment right after. And this morning, Kinsey is expected to make a full recovery. The North Miami Police Department has placed the officer on administrative leave, and the local state attorney's office is now investigating him.
Gio, this is so hard for people to get their heads around after all that has happened. Have the police there admitted that now they know this was a therapist and his patient? Where does this investigation go?
Yeah, absolutely. They acknowledge he's an ALF employee. They acknowledge the other one is a young man with autism. And that's why, Amy, this is going to be a very serious investigation. A lot of people asking, how could this happen?
A lot of people, Gio. All right, thank you.
This is what happened when we encounter the police, as opposed to fighting the police and attempting to harm the police. This is what happens. This is a big ode. People may be familiar with this story, but this is what happens.
Police body camera footage showing a Columbus, Ohio police officer opening fire and killing a black man while he was sleeping in bed. We do want to warn you, this video is difficult to watch, and Alex Perez joins us with more on this. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, Cecilia. The shooting appears to happen in an instant. Donovan Lewis's family is now calling for that officer to be held accountable.
We're going to send that dog in.
This disturbing police body camera video capturing the moment a Columbus, Ohio officer killed 20-year-old Donovan Lewis. His grieving family this morning calling on that officer to be charged.
Donovan was unarmed and he was abiding by police commands to come out of his room when he was shot in cold blood.
About 2:30 a.m. Tuesday, a team serving a felony arrest warrant for Lewis on domestic violence, assault, and improper handling of a firearm.
Apartment H, come to the door. Columbus Police. We're not leaving.
The officers in uniform identifying themselves for some 8 minutes, standing at the apartment front door, calling on those inside to exit.
Walk backwards to me.
Two eventually did.
Looking for Donovan. Where's he at?
Officers then entering with a canine to find Lewis. Authorities say Officer Ricky Anderson fired one shot at Lewis after the bedroom door is opened. Lewis appears to be raising his hands before being struck and collapsing. The police chief says Lewis appeared to be holding something in his hand. A vape pen was found on the bed, but no weapons. The video made public just hours after the incident.
It is critically important for us to let this independent investigation to take place.
And Officer Anderson, a 30-year veteran of the force, has been placed on paid administrative leave.
Vacation.
Pending outcome of the investigation. Gio?
Yeah, big questions there, Alex.
Gave him a vacation, paid administrative leave. He gets to stay home and get paid. I'm sure everybody remembers that. He wasn't fighting. He wasn't kicking them. He wasn't punching them. He wasn't stomping them. He had no weapons. He was running away from them. And the man took aim. The wicked demon took aim and shot him in the back several times. What's crazy about it? He went over there and dropped something in front of the man, trying to set him up because he shot him. He didn't know that this video was being recorded. Even if he did have a weapon, he had your weapon or your taser, whatever you say he had, he was running in a different direction. So the cop's life or anybody else's life was not in danger. But he didn't know somebody was recording this. And then he goes and cuffs him after he shoots him.
Fucking abuse.
You see where he's dropping something? We're going to go over to Akron, Ohio. You know the story.
Tonight, Akron, Ohio is under a state of emergency in the wake of protest over the fatal police shooting of a black man. 25-year-old Jayland Walker was shot at least 60 times after fleeing what police said was supposed to be a routine traffic stop. And we must warn you, some of the images you're...
Okay, a routine traffic stop turned deadly. A young man running away from you gets shot over 60 times.
About to see are disturbing. CBS's Elise Preston is in downtown Akron, where protesters are gathered ahead of a city curfew.
Newly released police body camera footage shows the critical moments leading up to the death of Jayland Walker.
Police say they were attempting to stop Walker for a traffic and equipment violation, which was not seen on camera. Seconds later,
equipment violation does not constitute guns drawn. This is wrong from the beginning. And equipment, how will you know that the equipment is malfunctioning in the first place? Now, I can understand if you said tail lights out, but it's still no reason to pull a gun.
the officer reports a gunshot fired from Walker's car. The shot itself is not visible in the video, but police point to this image from a traffic camera showing what they say appears to be the flash of a gun.
It went from being a routine traffic stop to now a public safety issue.
Video shows Walker then leading police on a high-speed chase before he eventually jumps out of the passenger side wearing a ski mask. Officers tried to deploy a taser while chasing him on foot, but are unsuccessful. Moments later, 8 officers unleash dozens of rounds. Walker, who was unarmed at the time of the shooting, died at the scene. Police say a handgun and a magazine were found in Walker's car, and the body camera images show Walker appearing to reach for his waist area right before he was killed. But he did not fire at police during the foot pursuit, nor was he carrying a weapon. A preliminary medical report says Walker had more than 60 gunshot wounds.
They need to be able to articulate what specific threats they were facing, and that goes for every round that goes down the barrel of their gun.
It was absolutely excessive. The law requires to use force that is reasonable.
Justice for Jalen!
Protests continued late Sunday, where demonstrators say police used tear gas to disperse the crowd. Akron police have not confirmed those reports. Today, businesses boarded up windows in anticipation of more protests. So far today, there have been mostly peaceful protests, but there is growing concern as a city-imposed curfew approaches. Raymond Green says he's troubled by the police response.
Why is my tax dollars paying for paramilitary equipment? That disgusts me.
The brother said something so pertinent. We have in the United States a military. When you see police officers with M16s, when you see police officers having anything that's above special weapons and tactics, SWAT, they start having tanks, they start wearing military equipment, that means that police department is overfunded. They have too much money when they're able to buy all of that. When New York is able to buy a damn police robot dog and a robot police officer, that means that department has too much damn money.
Now, there are 8 officers. Those 8 officers involved are on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of an independent state investigation. Meanwhile, we're starting to see protesters start to come down here to the downtown Akron area. We've also noticed about a dozen.
Now I'm going to show you what happens when other people encounter cops, when they assault cops. Watch what happens when they assault cops. When they do cops.
A sheriff's deputy does what he can to de-escalate a showdown with a troubled 21-year-old man.
Running's not going to help.
The drama started when the young man's family became concerned about the state of his mental health and called police. He fled into the woods. That's when a deputy caught up with him and tried to calm him.
Are you scared?
Yeah. He tries to detain Nicholas Ferguson. Suddenly, it all goes horribly wrong.
You're still not in trouble, but obviously I can't trust you not to run anywhere. All right, so come on. I'm going to put you in handcuffs for now, okay?
Cops say Ferguson pulled a knife and stabbed the deputy in the neck.
You stabbed me, he's got a knife!
The young man takes off again.
Stop! Stop right now!
You can see the deputy's pistol in his hand, but he switches it for a non-lethal taser. Deputies show up.
You see how he had his gun out first. After being stabbed in the neck, chasing him, switched from his gun and pulled out his taser and tased him. Would it had ended this way if it was one of us? That's the question.
Up and handcuff Ferguson.
I got stabbed in the neck.
Then they stem the blood with a special gauze known as Quick Clot.
He spent the night in the hospital, but he got stitches and he's out. He's going to make a full recovery. Matter of fact, he's ready to go back to work.
Stop! Stop right now!
That's what happens when others encounter the police.
Yeah, breaking news. Recently released video from inside the Bristol.
Check this out. Now, what do you think the outcome would be if one of us did this?
The police department last week. At the time, a woman walked in and started opening fire inside a lobby. Again, that whole thing caught on camera. We're about to show you some of it. 2 points to make here before we do. First, remember, nobody was hurt in this shooting. Second, nevertheless, the footage might be hard for some people to watch. And the Inspector General just released that video about a half hour ago. Now, investigators claim the woman you're looking at is Suzanne Laprise of Plainfield. They said she walked into the lobby with a gun. Then after banging on the windows, the video shows, again, a woman that they say is Suzanne firing at some bulletproof glass. Officers.
Now, if this was one of us banging on the window with the gun, walking in there with the gun present, the police would have came out, guns drawn. Probably would have been, one of us would have been shot, deadly force, definitely. But this is what happens when other people encounter the cops and come at the police officers aggressively. Keep watching.
Said they tried to talk to her, and that's when they say Laprise then fired a round in the direction of the officers. Again, nobody was hit by the bullets. We are going to show you some body cam footage from the officer's perspective.
There's already guys with it.
Brian, do not move. Do not move, Brian. Are these windows bulletproof?
Shots fired.
Are these windows bulletproof?
We have 2 cars going off to the front.
Okay, go.
Now, investigators said once Laprise put her handgun down, that's when officers used a stun gun to take her into custody. They said
she was taken into custody, she was tased, but she was taken into custody unscathed. Would it had ended like this if it was one of us? Hell no.
She was then taken to Bristol Hospital for evaluation before being returned to their custody. Police claimed that Laprise was both drunk and high at the time. They said she told her public defender last week that she likely suffers from mental health issues, or that's what her defender said. She's due back in court next week. Of course, this comes nearly a year after 2 Bristol police officers were shot and killed while responding to a domestic dispute.
It gets crazier.
The LA County Sheriff's Department has released the body cam footage of the shooting death of a Lancaster woman. 27-year-old Niani Finlayson was killed by a deputy after she called 911 to report that her ex-boyfriend had tried to strangle her.
And Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Fisher is live in the newsroom with a shocking new video on this story. Michelle?
Well, David and Giovanna, a little more than 3.5 weeks ago, this fatal deputy shooting occurred.
When you call the police, you are calling your enemy. You are not calling someone who's coming to save you. A lot of times when you call the police, they will come and do total contrary to what you call them for. Again, they'll shoot people that's threatening suicide. They'll shoot people who have mental illnesses. She called the cops because somebody was threatening her, and the police shot and killed her.
The sheriff's department today releasing the 911 audio and that body camera footage from the December 4th incident in the name of transparency. A warning that the footage you're going to see may be disturbing to some.
27-year-old Niani Finlayson shot and killed by an LA County Sheriff's deputy. The fatal encounter coming after she'd been the one to call them for help minutes earlier.
Yes, hello. I need the police here. This man, he won't get out of my house now.
Finlayson heard here making that frantic 911 call shortly after 6 on December the 4th, asking for help at the Cedar Ridge Apartments in Lancaster.
Yeah, I need the police here right now. No, because he won't get his hands off of me.
This body camera footage showing deputies responding to the domestic disturbance, hearing yelling from inside, then attempting to force entry into the apartment. Finlayson eventually opening the door with a large kitchen knife in her hand.
Yeah, I'm going to stand because he
You can see weapons drawn as the deputies enter the unit. The deputy in front handing her colleague a taser as they step inside and first encounter Finlayson's 9-year-old daughter.
Now, you hand your colleague the taser. They could have tased her. They didn't have to use deadly force. If they would have tased her after saying drop the gun, she would have dropped the gun by using a taser. But they prefer deadly force. When they see one of us, they automatically, something in them automatically wants to kill us. People can call it what they want to call it. They can call it racist, but it's racist of them to want to kill us automatically and have this thing that we're dangerous when we don't display that type of behavior towards them. We may do it towards each other, but not towards them.
We're freezing the video because of the disturbing nature, but within a matter of seconds, as Finlayson turns towards her boyfriend with a knife in the living room, the officer with a taser draws his service weapon and opens fire, striking Finlayson multiple times.
No, drop it! Why did you sue?
That question, top of mind for many as the community gets a first look at the footage made public today. LA County Sheriff Robert Luna saying in a statement, quote, the department released the body-worn camera footage ahead of the legal time frame to demonstrate our commitment to transparency and the visual representation of the facts in this case. As the comprehensive review process continues, the department will gain additional insight into the incident with the goal of improving public safety.
And per California law, body-worn camera footage from a deputy shooting must be released within 45 days of the incident. While the LA County Sheriff's Department continues its investigation, the LA County DA's office also conducting its own independent review. Finlayson's family, meantime, filing a $30 million claim against the county.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel and download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on Fire TV.
Now, police officers, they love to, when they get caught, they love to beg the judge for mercy. They don't like to be on the other side of the law. They'll do things and they'll express remorse, all because they was caught, not for the deeds that they did. But they will always express remorse because they are about to receive some punishment. Now, peace to my brother, Big Dog Philly OG. Thanks for tapping in. Now, they want to be seen as the good guy and the hero. They don't do no acts of heroism, and they don't behave as a good guy. They behave as a dictator tyrant that want people to comply with their every word, even if it's unlawful. They make an unlawful request and you refuse it. Their perceived power in them want to victimize you. But most of them are exactly like this video I'm about to play. Most of them. I know, especially in my city.
Now, breaking news from NBC4. And we begin with breaking news. 2 Columbus police officers have been arrested on federal charges accused of stealing multiple kilograms of cocaine and providing it to others to sell.
According to federal prosecutors, John Castillo and Joel Medford were arrested today. Medford's indictment alleges he stole multiple kilograms of cocaine from crime scenes starting in February of 2020. He's also accused of stealing 20 kilograms from a CPD property room, then replacing it with fake cocaine.
Castillo's indictment alleges that in 2021, he stole 10 kilograms from a crime scene and gave it to someone else to sell. If found guilty, they could be sentenced to life in prison. Columbus Mayor Ginther is responding to the allegations, releasing this statement. The alleged selfish actions of these 2 officers jeopardize the safety of the community, all in an effort to line their own pockets. I am disgusted. We have made great strides in rebuilding trust between police and the community, and we will not allow the actions of a few to deter our progress. CPD is fully cooperating and the officers will be held accountable. Stay with NBC4 both on air and online as we learn more throughout the evening.
Now, that ends my video presentation, but that's how these police officers get down. They love to lock us up, put us in jail. For things that we do, not saying that if you are caught doing something that you shouldn't be doing, you shouldn't be punished. Yet the police break more laws than the people they encounter. I know some good guys on police forces that I know personally. Yet the actions of others cause me not to trust any of them. Because if you would stand around and you know that this guy is violating somebody's rights, you're complacent with his actions. If you don't step in and say, look, you can't do this, like the brother Wise Intelligent asked, show me a good cop. A good cop will step in and be like, no, you can't do this. This is a violation of departmental policy and you're violating this man's constitutional rights. That's what the cop's supposed to do if he or she is a good cop. Before I go, I want to thank my brother Big Dog Filio G. I want to thank Teo Brown. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate it. My brother Voodoo Child. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming up, my brother, and hanging out with your brother for a little bit. I appreciate that. And to those who were watching and didn't leave a comment, I thank you for tapping in. At least you did watch. I appreciate that. Now, before I do go, I like to play another musical selection from the brother Wise Intelligent. In this community, we like Wise Intelligent because his lyrics and his songs resonate with us. He does his thing with informing us. This is one of the brothers' favorite here, I know.
Fuck about the police. Who gives a fuck about the police? The police, the police. Who gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? Gives a fuck about the police. Who gives a fuck about the police? These crackers occupy my ghetto like a slave plantation, mass incarceration. These crackers slave catchers and they hide behind the badges, stopping friskers and harassers. Steady fucking with a nigga like me. Mama Kwame Tori taught me, if a cracker wanna lynch me, that's his problem. But if this cracker got the power to lynch me, well then see, the motherfucking problem's mine. Before I walk out on the front line, every time another motherfucking one time, kill another motherfucker and get no time. I decline cause I ain't gonna get hit with rubber bullets. I make fucking peaceful protest up. The only way they gonna respect us when we organize militias and better fighting positions and let them know we don't need them and we'll do our own police. Touch one of us, you know, get touch. About the police. Who gives a fuck about the police? The police. The police. Who gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? Gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? They call it an eye for an eye, but I call it a life for a life. A daughter, a son for a son. One wife for a wife, you know I'm full of peace and love. Let's get it straight, I never propagate hate. But it's our obligation as the children of this haven not to ever let this shit happen again. I ain't counting on the laws to protect my right as a human fucking being to preserve my life. Thinking self-preservation is the first law of nature and the second keep a weapon for whoever try to take it. If you hear me, nigga, lick one shot. If you ain't having any shit, lick two. If you roll deep as fuck like what, double up, give a 21 gun salute. Who gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? The police, the police. Who gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? Gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? This little piggy was a pussy in high school. This little piggy daddy run a hate group. This little piggy cheerleader girlfriend fuck the star running back. Now he hate black dudes. We gotta take control of the school systems when it's 98% black students in them. Black curriculums with Afrocentrism in them. To rename the self-esteem and killing niggerisms. We can't afford to follow rules of education because they full of black faces making European decisions for the African descendants of a Holocaust. Of my opera still in progress, that's a lot of loss. A lot of pain they created and they profit off. Cocaine on a plane and they drop it off. You know the game's gon' bang and sell it off. Mass incarceration when they can't kill us off. Kill the school to prison pipeline, turn us off. The police. Who gives a fuck about the police? The police. The police. Who gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? Gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? Who gives a fuck about the police? The police. The police.
When you look at me, what do you see? The answer's nothing. I have no feelings about you one way or the other. You're like lint or
peace and power, Tail Brown.
Just a thing to remove.
Peace and power.
Our life in America, man, a black freedom.
Check this song out, it's dope. Good message.
Thank the Lord they don't know me. We from public house, we turn this shit to 3,000. You can say we hood, fit it under my hood. We just minding our business. Coppers stopping and frisking us. Young, black, and ambitious, so I guess that's acting suspicious. Demonize my culture, criminalize my kid. Jesus Jones done told you, they hating on my skin. Hit the AM PM, cop gas 3 black miles. Crack run up on me, telling me to turn the shit down now. I roll my windows back up, turn the music back up. Cause we ain't bothering nobody, these crackers fucking with us. This asshole gon' lose it if I keep playing my music. We just some high school students, and this the way we do it. We ain't fucking with you and don't know why the fuck is you shooting. Stand your ground and sound confusing when you the one that's pursuing.
Now, everything he's saying is true stories. This cracker shot a brother down, shot a brother and killed him because he wouldn't turn his music down. All the stories in this song is true stories.
These 3 degrees say you never ever plus these be negative. Plus everybody just reverse. They take the light as now that I just act like this. Now you can be the president like it's snakes. It don't matter. Fuck you, black. It takes a
Police say their 17-year-old son was shot to death after an argument over loud music.
Cops stop to get his hate on. I'm black and that's what they hate on. In fact, the cracker ain't take long to shoot to kill, and I'm unarmed. Said he fear for life, I got a gun on. I fast to pray to when I'm gone. My daddy spends his life in filling morgues with cops galore. His daughter's sons, his wife. No civil suits, no protests, no hollow speech from the protest. Just hollow points and broken joints. My black life is worth no less. These 3 degrees ain't held by these CSPs. Me manage with my 5 children. That right, they take your life, just be a cop yourself. Take your life, don't matter. It's just black life, the same way they see the gangs. Clean blood, don't give it rights. They see your life, get up.
Everybody want me to be calm. Do you know how them boys in my son? What they mean when you party and they live
I ain't no gangster, never been no thug, never did no bid, never sold no drugs. Shit, my grade point average, I mean my GPA, that jumped 4.0, but I was good at 3.8. So why these craps behave? They quick to say that I'm banging, they criminalize my friends. So they
Peace to Equator 7. Peace.
me with impunity, but they soon to see what they did. He was only 12, just a kid. She never reached the 8th year. He was at a Walmart when a cracker call saying for my life I'm in fear. They can take my life when they scared, so they pretend to be scared. Being black, it ain't safe here. You can ignore the facts and be clear. I'm just being sincere. This here is where the sense is. I just want to go home. Please leave me the fuck alone. 6 cops illegal chokeholds. Cell phones capture videos. Now I can't breathe and I'm gone. Police corruption exposed. Still no trial and I'm 6 feet down on a sea spray over my soul. These 3 degrees ain't 7. You see it, plus I'm nothing. It's what we like a cop rob. Take it to a gun. Nothing. 70-year-old walking with a cane. Just take man, wasn't no child. It don't matter. Black, white, they see you like nothing. Tell me why you come in my house. Tell me why you came in my house like that.
The voice you hear is Ayanna Jones's grandmother. The Detroit Police Department was executing a warrant in the wrong house, looking for someone who committed a murder, but they was in the wrong house. And they shot and they killed 7-year-old Ayanna Jones as she was laying on her grandmother's bed. Officer Weekly busted in the room and shot the first person he seen, which was a 7-year-old girl. They was filming a episode of the first 48 when they was doing that. And he busted in and killed that baby. And that's why they don't even allow First 48 to film there no more after that incident. That's what happened. That's the voice that you hear is Ayanna Jones's grandmother. See, Wise Intelligent, he goes all over the country and he advocates for our people. That's why he resonates with me, his music and his lyrics, and he's out there in the trenches on behalf of our people. Run that back.
Tell me why you came in my house like that.
I'm nothing. That's what I am. I don't know nothing. I don't have nothing. I'm nothing.
Yeah. We'll leave with this, family. This is your brother Nasir. This is the Enemy's Public. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section. Peace.
Stop. family. Kitten, this shit popping. A blue face ran on a black man's conscience like them state patrols and night watches. We modern police department, heartless beast and sheets, they burn crosses. That's why like they like to wear badges. And it's been this way from day one. And them guys got slave when he run. Lynch him, shoot him dead with that gun. Like they hunt and slaughter for fun. Like man, woman, doctor, and son. Why should we think that a bitch precinct has been infiltrated by people racist with all facts show that they've been black ever since they nation on the slave plantation. Taking everything black in fact. One drop is the rule and every cop that was enough to string a black man up full of over and justify homicide us. My city clear for their life in the system. People pay leave, you know that's a vacation. Chief of police telling us to be patient while they conduct their own investigation. Oh, now they need sensitivity, training for the pig they needed when the white boy shooting in the movie. Shit dropping motherfuckers like flies, cop ties. Either white guy still taking a live. Oh, heaven, I swear for God, just to show us how a black man gotta see a lot of the way you can. We living in the land of the ruthless land. Oh, heaven, I swear for God, just to show us how a black man gotta see a lot of the way you can. We living in the land of the ruthless land. We living in the land of the ruthless land. Living in the land of the ruthless land.
Low club stand, could I never wipe off that man? Them say to be a true citizen, none of our be a white man. Without that status, them now but treat you like no human. But this country and I leave it down, I let go and I let no done. Financial strain and burden go burn up on the poor man. With that poor man is the true idea and with them in done.